Growing up in Britain during the 1960s was like living in a completely different universe compared to modern childhood. No phones buzzing, no internet pulling your attention, and definitely no parents tracking your every movement. Once you finished breakfast, you were out the door and vanished into the neighborhood until tea time, returning with dirty hands, bruised knees, and enough stories to last the week. Everything felt freer, looser, and far more adventurous. If you were a child in 1960s Britain, these memories will take you straight back. One Friday evenings, the Crackerjack craze. Every kid knew that when the clock hit 5 to 5 on Friday, you had to be in front of the telly. Crackerjack wasn't just a show, it was a mini-cultural event. The audience, filled with cubs, brownies, and scouts in neat uniforms, squealed and cheered through chaotic games, bizarre sketches, and frantic competitions. Double or drop was legendary. Get a question wrong and you were handed a cabbage. Drop anything? Game over. And the grand prize? A Crackerjack pencil. Just a pencil, yet every child in Britain wanted one like it was treasure. To Blue Peter, a national institution. Twice a week, Blue Peter presenters became your heroes. Valerie Singleton, John Noakes. Legends. Every family hoarded bottle tops, wool scraps, and used stamps for Blue Peter charity appeals. You'd take bags full to school, proud to be part of something big. And of course, the Holy Grail, the Blue Peter badge. Wearing one made you feel like royalty. Valerie's famous "Here's One I Made Earlier" inspired a generation of kids to attempt cardboard creations that never looked remotely like hers. Free Doctor Who. The Sofa Shield experience. Nothing terrified 60s kids like Doctor Who. The Daleks, with their robotic voices screaming, "EXTRMINATE," had children diving behind the sofa. The sets were wobbly, costumes cheap, monster zips fully visible. But none of that mattered. To a 1960s child, it was pure nightmare fuel. Waiting an entire week for the next episode? Torture. 4 Saturday morning pictures. The Sixpence Freedom. Every Saturday, cinemas filled with unaccompanied children armed with sixpence. No parents. No supervision. Just noisy crowds, mountains of sweets, cliffhanger cereals, and cartoons. 3 hours of chaotic joy for the price of a coin. 5 The Sweet Shop. Penny Heaven. 4 blackjacks or fruit salads for a penny. Sherbet fountains, flying saucers, gobstoppers, spangles, entire walls of jars behind the counter. You'd carefully choose 2 ounces of your favorites while the shopkeeper scooped them into a paper cone. 1 penny bought real happiness. 6 comics. A child's treasure. The Beano, Dandy, Eagle, Bundy, Valiant. Every kid had a pile under their bed. You'd swap them with friends, trade characters, and read late at night under the blankets with a torch. Before tablets existed, comics were your personal universe. 7 unsupervised adventures. True 1960s freedom. You left home in the morning and didn't return until tea. Parents didn't worry, there was no way to contact you anyway. You explored bomb sites, woods, fields, rivers, and streets. You built dens, climbed trees, and turned scrap into forts. Cuts, bruises, and muddy clothes were simply part of childhood. Today, parents would be arrested for the freedom 60s kids enjoyed. 8 toy guns and Western games. Cap guns, plastic bows, slingshots, cowboy hats. Every child had them. You'd play massive neighborhood battles inspired by the westerns you watched on TV. Nobody complained. Nobody panicked. It was completely normal. 9 Watch with Mother. Bill and Ben, Andy Pandy, Tales of the Riverbank, gentle, slow-paced shows watched with Mum. Simple puppets. Simple stories, but magical to a 60s child. 10 The Toys. Simple but brilliant. Etch-a-Sketch was mind-blowing. 2 Dials, shaky lines, impossible curves. You'd spend hours trying to draw a square. Lego was just basic colored bricks. No instruction books. No themes. Your imagination did all the work. Meccano taught you engineering before you even knew the word. And for boys, Action Man was the ultimate toy. Endless uniforms and missions created entirely in your head. 11 Homemade perfume and creative play. Girls made perfume from mashed rose petals stored in tiny bottles. It smelled awful, but mums pretended to love it. Creativity cost nothing. That was the spirit of the decade. 12 Christmas the 1960s way. Stockings contained an orange, chocolate coins, a new handkerchief, a flannel, a toothbrush. Simple, practical, traditional. And everyone said Father Christmas, not Santa. After stockings came church, cold buildings, packed pews, carols sung by the whole village. Only then were presents opened. 13 chemistry sets with actual dangerous chemicals. Modern kits are watered down. In the 60s, you got real chemicals capable of producing heat, color changes, smoke, even tiny explosions. Parents didn't worry. It was considered educational. 14. Enid Blyton, the childhood queen. Every child devoured Enid Blyton books, famous 5. Secret 7, Mallory Towers, Naughty. Her adventures shaped imaginations and made school holidays feel magical. Today, some of her writing is called outdated, but to 60s kids, it was the gateway to adventure. 15. Diaries and childhood memories. Getting a diary for Christmas felt grown-up. You filled it with daily life, school, friends, weather, meals. Private, personal, locked with a tiny key. No social media. Just your thoughts on paper. Closing reflection. So there you have it, the world only a child of 1960s Britain will truly recognize. Crackerjack Fridays. Hiding from Daleks. Sixpence Cinema. Penny Sweets. Roaming freely all day with no adults in sight. Dangerous toys. Quiet villages. Real community spirit. And imagination taking the lead. Was it perfect? No. But was it magical in its own way? Absolutely. That childhood is gone, but if you lived it, nobody can take those memories away. What do you remember most? Share it in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more trips into Britain's past.